Gary Payton and the Seattle Supersonics.
Jay Peter with the Seattle Mariners and Jermaine Kearse.
Cliff Averill.
This is Nate Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
What's up, guys? This is NorbCam coming at you here in the midst of probably one of the slowest times of the year as far as Seahawks football is concerned. Super Bowl's over, free agency hasn't started, and so we are kind of left to just wonder what's going to happen next. But there's actually a lot coming up pretty soon here if you start kind of keeping track of what's to come. One of the biggest off seasons, I think, in recent Seahawks seasons. So it's going to be fun to kind of dissect what's going to happen, predict what might happen, and find out what actually will happen as it pertains to free agency and the draft and everything else coming up in this 2018 season. I want to welcome you all for coming out here and being part of the show. I see the live chat's blowing up already, so thank you guys for being here, like DJ Marley Hype, Deadly Skills, Brandon Rogers, a lot of the regulars who I like to see here. It's been a while since we've done this, so I'm glad to see you all here. So if you want to be part of the conversation, you can be in the chat. You can also jump on the phone lines, and we'll try to take your calls, get as many as we can here. And the number to call would be on the screen here, 515-739-1219, and then enter the code 696153, and we will try to get to you and answer your phone calls. But let me get to our very special guest that I have today. For the first time ever, I've been a guest on their show, but they've never had them on mine, so I thought it's time to repay the favor. And they have some great insight. It's the guys from the Seahawkers podcast, so let me introduce them right now. What's up, guys? Here on the Skype Live, here on NorbCam Ask Norb, we've got Brandan and Adam. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Hey, what's up, Norb?
Hey, thanks for having us, man. This is gonna be fun. Thanks for all of you guys having us, man. This is a unique experience for us.
It is very cool. And if you guys have not heard these guys' show, these guys run a great show. Again, it's called the Seahawkers podcast. And why don't you guys tell our audience, who probably some of them have not heard about you guys, where do they find you, and what's the best way to find your material, find your show?
Yeah, you can check us out, Seahawkerspodcast.com. If you have, depending on what kind of phone you have, if you have Android phone, if you go to Seahawkerspodcast.com/Android, that'll take you to our app for Android phones, or Seahawkerspodcast.com/iOS. We're on Spotify now too, so lots of places to find us.
Yeah, if you can't find us, you're bad at internet. Like, you got to do better.
All right. So, since I got you guys here, what I like about what you guys do is you're very, you get into deep into the analysis of things, which I love. I've been looking for, some guests to come in and talk real hardcore football, and I think our guests will enjoy, or our viewers will enjoy hearing a little bit about what this tumultuous off season looks like. And so, but before we get into what's coming up ahead, I want to talk a little bit with you guys about, first, a little bit about how you got into this, a little history about you guys, and then we'll look back on this 2017 Seahawks season. So tell me a little bit about how the two of you started this podcast, what brought you together, and how long you've been doing it, and all that kind of thing, whichever you guys want to go first.
Well, it goes really all the way back to Mrs. Vanetta's kindergarten class, where we first met here in Kalispell. So, but then, no, we got back together when I moved to Missoula, Montana, and Adam was doing a show with his buddy called The Flock of Donkeys, and with his Broncos fan buddy. And I thought it was something that I'd been wanting to do, and we decided to start meeting up over at his place. Gave us an excuse to get together once a week and just talk Seahawks football. So right at the beginning of the 2013 Super Bowl season, that's when we started to launch the podcast, and we ended up going to the Super Bowl. So Seahawks fans, you're welcome.
Yeah, that was all us. But it definitely was really cool to reunite with Brandan. He was a good friend of mine all the way through all of our years through childhood. And then when he went off in the Navy, we kind of lost touch a little bit when he moved back here. It was just a great excuse to get together and hang out, have a couple beers, talk Hawks. And we started out in my kitchen, just around basically one microphone. And now it's grown into something of a thing. We have a pretty good following, and it's been a lot of fun. It's opened up a lot of experiences that I would have never had before. That's for sure.
And I heard you guys celebrated kind of a milestone. Didn't you guys post that you guys had like your millionth viewer or millionth. It was a million milestone. Talk about that.
Yeah, 1 million downloads. And that's something our podcast host keeps track of, and we went over the 1 million mark. So yeah, after doing it for about 5 years now, I felt pretty good about that mark.
Yeah, we're compilers is basically it. I mean, we're just at this for a long time, and so we've managed to compile some large numbers. I'm not sure that we're 1 million listeners good. That's all I'm saying.
Well, still, a million of anything is pretty good. So congratulations on hitting that milestone. So that's awesome. So, all right, well, the Seahawks, Super Bowl 48, that seems to be the genesis of a lot of things. I started doing my NorbCam YouTube channel, really started before Super Bowl 48 in that game where we had the comeback against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Happened to record my reaction knowing it was our biggest comeback victory to date, and then put that on YouTube, and next thing you know, people were just wanted to see more and more reactions, and then next thing you know, we're in the Super Bowl, and I'm there with my dad traveling to New York recording our win. So that was just amazing. That was just an amazing, miraculous season that we'll never forget. So, but let's talk about this season that was probably one a little bit to forget, being that's the first time we did not make the playoffs in 5 seasons since 2012. So I just want to get a take from you guys, kind of the high level bird's eye view on what went wrong this past season, and what was really in your mind kind of the main reason what happened to this team and why it didn't make the playoffs this season.
Well, Norb, if you listen to the national media, it's because everybody's over the hill. Everybody hates each other. Pete Carroll's lost it. And this entire team's terrible. John Schneider can't draft a guy anymore. And heaven to Betsy's, we missed the playoffs, and it's all over. Break it up. That's basically the narrative from this last season, which to me I find absolutely ridiculous. This is a team that was 1 game away from making the playoffs. If we had a kicker that could kick the ball straight, like through the upright parts, where you get points, we would be in the playoffs. We would have been in the playoffs. And this team was not that far away. And then you take into account the injuries to marquee players on the defense. This is a defensive-centric team. You take away some of the star players from that defense, especially in the secondary, and you're going to notice it. And then I think that compounded the biggest mistake going into this last season of all, and that was signing Eddie Lacy for some unknown reason. I was furious when they did it. I couldn't stand the signing. Brandan and I had a bet on the show whether or not he'd be any good. He stunk just like I thought he would. And we ended up spending money on Eddie Lacy instead of maybe another offensive lineman. Maybe that money you would have paid Eddie Lacy, you could have rolled in to a little extra to maybe get TJ Lang in the offseason. And I think that was the big Achilles heel for the season.
Oh, TJ Lang. How about Steven Hauschka? We got to watch him bang 50-yarders all year long up in Buffalo. Hauschka had been on this team. We'd be in the playoffs. But injuries, I mean, you mentioned it, Adam. That was it for me. Seeing Sherman go down midseason, seeing Cam go down early on in the season, Cliff Averill, losing him. He's been such a big part of the pass rush. And really, that's losing key guys, Pro Bowl talent on your defense. It makes it a lot tougher to win games.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up kind of just what was at the core of things. And it's funny because the season felt like it ended on such a bad note. But when you look at how close it was, we were so many tiny little moments away from winning so many of those games. Whether it was like you brought up the missed field goals that we should have had that should have resulted in wins. The injury bug, obviously, but I look at, to me, the biggest failure in the season was that Washington Redskins game. Of all the games, there was, obviously we lost 7 games, so each one of those could be looked at as, well, we should have won that, or we should have done something different. That game, we had no business losing that game. If you recall, the Redskins came in with like a completely decimated offensive line. I mean, nobody gave them a half a shot at winning that game. And really, if Blair Walsh makes 2 of those field goals, I think actually even he makes just 1, but if he makes 2, if he's just not even good, if he's average or below average kicker that day, we still win that game. And instead, we almost pull off a Hail Mary and win the game anyway. But to me, that Redskins loss was the one that really just summed up kind of what was wrong with the 2017 season. And I don't know about you guys, but obviously the Eddie Lacy deal smelled bad from the start. But the kicker situation, losing Hauschka and then picking up Blair Walsh, what were your guys' reaction to when they signed him? Did you feel like, well, maybe he'll bounce back this year, or did you guys think this was a bad idea from the start?
Oh yeah, with Blair, it was a bad idea with the start. I was not on board from the beginning, and I think a lot of Seahawks fans too, with the way that we got to see how he performed in the playoffs by missing just an easy field goal that was as short as an old extra point from like the 2-yard line. And granted, yeah, the weather was cold, but it was a gimme type field goal, and that's how they lost a game in the playoffs. I did not want to get to the playoffs and have that type of moment come up again. And we saw it in the game at the very last kick that he made for the Seahawks, the miss against Arizona. I'm glad that it happened there and not in the playoffs.
Let us not forget, too, that going into that offseason, everybody and their dog was calling for Stephen Hauschka's head because he had a slightly down year.
Yeah, get rid of the bum.
He's terrible. Can't have him. And so you get rid of him and you bring in Blair Walsh. Now, I wasn't quite as down on it as Brandan was initially. I was like, well, let's see. It's a lot like a golf swing. You can get into a funk, for a little while, get the shanks, and you get a good coach around you, get a change of scenery. Maybe you can straighten things out. But when he missed putting his signature on his contract to the left, I was very concerned at that point because he missed the whole line. He signed all the way to the left of it.
Well, yeah, as it turns out, yeah, hindsight's 20/20, and to see what happened with Hauschka this season, booting 50-yard field goals left and right for Buffalo and watching them make the playoffs. Granted, they had an early exit. It kind of brings me back to we're starting to move into the talking about this coming season, but a lot of people talking about John Ryan. He's had a little bit of a rough year, some bad shanked punts, and a lot of people say, yeah, let's get rid of him. But I don't know. He's been pretty solid, with the exception of this year. I guess this is a good time to segue into, let's talk about 2018 now. So we're sitting here, a lot of guys are free agents coming up. Namely, we got, Jimmy Graham has been talked about a lot, Paul Richardson, Sheldon Richardson, to name a few. But there's also talk of even, what about the LOB, Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman? Is it possible one or two or both of these guys could possibly be gone? Not as free agents, but maybe traded or released or whatever. But want to get your top thoughts on some of the, what do you think in free agency? What are some of the names of the guys, the names that people are familiar with? Who's going to be most likely here and who's going to be gone?
Yeah, I think there's no possible way that Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas get traded this offseason. I mean, we went through all this rigmarole last offseason when the media just was begging to trade Richard Sherman somewhere. They wanted it so badly, and they're doing it again this offseason. You see the stories. I saw a headline the other day. Thomas and Sherman could be gone in a trade tsunami. Batten down the hatches. It's all over. This is the thing that drives me nuts about the national narrative. No, I think those two guys will definitely be here next year. I don't understand why you try to trade Richard Sherman coming off an Achilles at his lowest market value. You're going to get the least amount for him at that point. It makes no sense. You have another year of him under contract. He's still a young guy. I mean, he's just starting to become 30 here, and everybody acts like all these guys are in their mid-30s. This isn't an aging defense when it comes to the defensive backs. Now, as far as the other free agents, I would probably, if it were me, if I'm John Schneider, I would tag Sheldon Richardson. I would use the franchise tag on him. I'd keep him in-house. I think he is that kind of difference maker on the defensive line. Allows you to target other things in free agency in the draft, other needs that I think are more glaring. I think Paul Richardson will be back because I don't think the market for him is going to be what he thinks it's going to be. I think he's going to find what Jermaine Kearse found a year or so ago, where he went out there and it was just a really weak market and ended up re-signing on a really team-friendly deal. I see that for Paul Richardson. And then as far as everybody else, I think Jimmy Graham will be gone. Luke Jokel will be gone. Obviously, Blair Walsh will be gone. Eddie Lacy will be gone. But those are the guys that I'd look at. I don't know about you, Brandan. Is there anybody that stands out to you?
If you're talking trade, how did you not bring up the idea that Russell Wilson needs to be traded and how we shouldn't even consider that because Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman. We're trying to pick the biggest names. It seems like, and John Schneider doesn't do anything to put those media fires out. Maybe he doesn't care, but they let it go all last season with Richard Sherman. Oh yeah, for the right price, yeah, sure. But we saw Marcus Peters go from the Chiefs to the Rams, and they get a second, a fourth, and a sixth, and it was a second next year, not even a second this year. So,
and was his Achilles all together when they did that?
As far as I know, I think he had his Achilles and all of his CLs. So
in the knees, all the CLs. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So those guys, I don't see him being traded. I know a lot of fans, they got their feelings hurt when Earl Thomas said to the Cowboys, come get me. But, I take those types of things with Earl. And I'm an Oklahoma Sooners fan, and I can put up with this stuff from Earl just fine. So, if there's anybody who has a grudge against Texas players, it's Oklahoma Sooners fans. And I do differ from Adam a little bit in terms of the free agency guys, though. Of all the guys who I want back, and maybe it's just mostly due to personality, but Jimmy Graham. I want Jimmy Graham back out of all those guys. I don't want to see him go. And part of me wants to see him just to see if Brian Schottenheimer can use him just as we were starting to see him be used this season. Throw him the ball and let him catch touchdowns. That's what I want from Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, I have all the faith Brian Schottenheimer's going to unlock the potential of Jimmy Graham, that offensive mastermind. Yeah, that's going to go great.
He had it. They showed him exactly what to do this year. So how hard is that?
Well, good luck. That's all I'm saying with that.
Well,
Jimmy doesn't fit the offense, man.
He doesn't fit the offense, but who knows? Maybe he is going to have a different scheme in there. And it is mind-boggling how he has been very good. The problem with Jimmy Graham is that he's been great in the red zone, particularly within the 10-yard line. But then sometimes you get outside of the red zone, he kind of disappears. He won't get a catch for an entire half, it seems like. But you get into the red zone, and then that's when he makes his money. But I think we were all hoping to see the tandem of Russell Wilson and Jimmy Graham to become the next combination of great quarterbacks to tight ends. Like the Romo to Witten, and help me out. What are some of the other great tight end combinations?
Brady to Gronk.
Brady to Gronk.
You can go down the list. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Everybody is down on Jimmy as far as his production, but we all seem to forget that he put in the most productive season a tight end has ever given in the passing game for a Seattle Seahawk. He's number one. He has the best season as a pass catcher. The problem
is the best career as a tight end pass catcher.
Yes.
In 3 years, he's broken every single tight end statistic for the Seahawks.
So I think that connection that we were all hoping for did evolve. And you definitely saw it down the stretch when Russell Wilson finally, for the love of God, decided to stop throwing fades to Jimmy Graham and started just drilling the ball into him when he was in the red zone. So you saw the production. The problem is that this team wants to be a smash mouth football team. And Jimmy Graham is never going to be that inline blocker. He's just not. Right. And so let him walk, take that money, reinvest in the offensive line, get Nick Vannett in there, draft another guy. I definitely don't want to see them bring in the dude from Cincinnati. It's Eifert.
Tyler Eifert.
I do not want to see him at all. Just get me a solid blocker. That's it. I want another guy like Zach Miller.
Zach Miller.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I don't see Jimmy Graham coming back. I think he's going to command too much money. Someone else will pay him a lot more than I think Seattle would be willing to pay him, unless he loves it so much here and he's willing to take a lot less. But I don't see that happening either. But speaking of money, so keeping, like you said, I think we all want to see Sherman stay. We all want to see Thomas stay. And a lot of these guys, Sheldon Richardson, Paul Richardson, we would love to have all these guys stay. The problem is we got some pretty big cap hits, particularly on the Sherman side, on the Thomas side. I think isn't Sherman's cap hit like 11 million, something like that, and Thomas's like 8 million. So I guess in your minds, how do you guys reconcile that, the cost of the cap, with wanting to keep these guys who obviously have value? How do you guys see that working out have you done the math and actually seen that? Or, what's your thoughts on how we manage the salary cap to keep these guys here?
Adam's always doing math in his free time.
Yeah.
He loves math.
Yeah, I'm basically that dude from A Beautiful Mind with the grease pen on the window at all times. That's what I'm doing. I actually tried to kind of go through that exercise last year with the salary cap, and everybody would tell me, all the experts, I go to Spa Track and all that, and you're right up against the cap. And then suddenly we have money to get Dwayne Brown in a trade. Suddenly we can bring in Sheldon Richardson. It's magic. The cap is magic. It's not real. So I'm sure John Schneider can figure it out. But think about it in some practical terms. Earl Thomas, you could redo his deal, stretch that out over another 2 to 3 years, take that cap hit and prolong it. That'd be a way to clear up some cap space. Russell Wilson could do the same thing. You could do that with a number of guys. There's a million different ways to get to that number to bring in some of those other guys. Also, remember, Jeremy Lane's going to be coming off the books. There's no way that he gets re-signed. So there's some dead money that's going to come off there. I think it's possible. I think it's possible for him to keep Sheldon. I think Paul will come back again on a very small deal, probably a one year deal, and then you kind of fill the rest in with young guys. I don't think we need a ton of cap space to go after a bunch of mid-tier dudes. Like I either want to pay a star or draft a bunch of young guys and churn over that bottom of the roster like they did early on in 2011, like where they did 196 transactions in a month or some nonsense. Keep doing that. That's how you find those gems in the undrafted rounds.
Yeah, like you said earlier, Adam, I don't understand the idea that all of a sudden 29 and 30-year-old dudes are now like over the hill. And these guys aren't that old. Yeah, with Earl Thomas, you do have to worry about the amount of punishment that he takes on his body. And then we saw that kind of hit with Cam this year with the amount of punishment he deals out. So that's more of a concern with Earl. I still see Sherman having quite a few years left. And to go ahead and cut his salary, because you're not going to trade him with his Achilles. If you do, right, it's not going to be for much of anything. So cutting, that salary, it's a big cap hit. But really, that's the guy that you're going to – I mean, the Seahawks have shown that they're not really shrewd when it comes to business. They take care of their players. And for a guy like Richard Sherman – that's a guy that you take care of. Yeah,
for sure. And I think you're right. Trying to trade Sherman right now where the stock market is, his market value is very low coming off the injury doesn't make a lot of sense. And like you said, the injury bug. This team is not that old, and the injuries that they've had, particularly the Chancellor one and even Cliff Averill, wasn't because they're old. They were just these fluky, unfortunate, neck injuries that at this point, I guess we still don't know whether these guys are coming back. Now, I know there's an incentive for Cam Chancellor to want to come back, and I hope he comes back because he's like my favorite player. I love watching that guy play. And, and I think he's actually stated that he plans to come back, or if he's medically cleared, he's going to come back.
He's coming back.
He's coming back? Is he playing in 2018?
Are you going to tell him no?
Oh, I'm not going to tell him no. I want him to play. I think he wants to play. And he's got an incentive. The question is, can he play? The question is, can Cliff Averill play? I mean, there comes a point where they may want it, the team wants it, the fans want it, and maybe his neck doesn't want it. I guess no one will know that until they actually get medical, evaluation when the time comes. But, I guess that's the big question. Is will these guys be back? And I don't think anybody knows. I don't even think they know. But I guess if you were to speculate, Cliff Averill, Cam Chancellor, can they come back and play in 2018?
Well, I think it very much comes down to risk tolerance for both of these guys and how much they love the game of football, how much they love to play. Because it sounds like they will both heal up to the point to where they could trot out onto the field and be productive. Now, their risk for further injury or having severe injury, where maybe now you're losing function of body parts and things like that because of another spinal injury, that risk could be higher. I think somebody like Cam Chancellor, he is wired so much about everything about him is playing football. That's all he wants to do. He wants to hit people. He wants to get paid to hit people. And
he's good. He's good at hitting people too.
And he's good at it. Yeah, I love it. I really think that his desire, I think he has a really strong shot at playing again, because I think his risk tolerance is going to be a little higher than, say, Cliff Averill's. He's a guy that's a little more mellow, a little more laid back. I think I could see Averill being kind of like, I probably could play, but it's a little risky.
Yeah, he's got plus Cliff Avrill's got a family. He's got, a few more things to
He's got
kind
to
of
rebuild Haiti. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But of course,
things to do.
Of course, when he gets those sacks, the sacks equals houses for Haiti. So there's still some motivation there. But I think you're right though. Cam Chancellor's risk tolerance might be a little bit higher because it just seems like you said, he's kind of more of that ferocious monster that I think it's in him to want to be out there on the field. And maybe there just isn't as much telling him you need to not play because he's maybe just got in his mind less to lose. I don't know. That's just speculating from the outside view. But I hope you're right. I hope there's some way that he can play and not endanger his future health. Because, man, when he got knocked out of that Arizona game, he was playing one of the best football games I'd seen him play in a long time. He was blowing up Adrian Peterson. He was making plays in the secondary. Didn't he look good? He got that safety. I think he helped get that safety against Peterson in the end zone. It looks so good. And then he comes out, and we don't even realize he's injured. All of a sudden, he's going under the tent going, what happened? He looked fine. And, he never even hit the ground. So, anyway, hopefully that wasn't the last we've seen of him. But if he's still around, that sure helps keeps our defense intact to where we're not desperately trying to find holes to fill with some of these.
And I think it comes down to salary too, because with Cam Chancellor being under contract and really the Seahawks getting no relief in terms of if they were to cut him and as far as what they gain on the salary cap, he's going to be around anyway. And then Cliff Avril, with him being on the last year of his deal, that makes him more likely in my mind to not be back. And so if I were to pick one of those guys that we wouldn't see back, unfortunately it'd be Cliff Avril because he's been one of my favorite players since he came to Seattle.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I had an opportunity to actually interview Cliff Avril for a United Way spot when he was up for the Man of the Year award. And he was great. He's just such a really down-to-earth guy. And we hope his career is not over, but he's one of those good human beings out there, real solid guy, class guys. And, so hopefully he's still around to play for a little while longer. So, well, let's take a moment. I know we got a lot of callers waiting out there, and I can keep seeing in the chat room saying that they're having problems with the phone line. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll find out if there's problems or not. But let's take to one of the calls out here and see if we can make this thing work. So let's go to one of the regular callers here. Let's go to Brandan over in Minneapolis. Try this out. Brandan, can you hear me? Are you out there? Maybe not. Brandan, are you out there?
This is very confusing for me, being the same name as me. I am here.
Okay. All right. Well, we might be having some technical difficulties. Let me try another line. If not, we'll see what we can get worked out here. Let me try Bryce over in Washington. Bryce, are you on the phone? Bryce, are you there? Okay, it's a good thing I checked to make sure that everything was working before I started this show here. That's live TV for you.
I will confirm. Norb did check it. He wasn't just Slack.
I know, I was working earlier. Wait, hold on a second. I think I got it. Here we go.
There are 8 participants in the conference.
I need a Miss Woman to come, say something nice over here. Okay, Bryce, do I have you on the line?
Yes.
Oh, we have signal. We have contact. Bryce, what's going on, man? What's going on?
Who do you think's gonna stay with the Seahawks and who's gonna leave?
Who do you think's gonna stay with the Seahawks? Is that what your question is?
Yeah.
Any particular player you're asking about? We went through a bunch of them, but what's the player that you have the most questions about? Who you're concerned about not being on the team next year? Why don't you put it that way?
Jimmy Graham.
Well, fellas, I think we kind of had our verdict on that one.
I want him back. He's the one I want back. I know I'm with you guys in terms of, do I think that he'll be gone? And unfortunately, if you're looking just at, Pete Carroll has said that he wants the running game to improve. And considering it was, we were all the way down at the bottom of the league last year, one of the places where you can improve, apart from, getting a couple more dudes on the offensive line, having healthy running backs, not having Eddie Lacy, that'll help. And then, unfortunately, Jimmy Graham just has not helped the running game. And And so when I think of what the team will do based on what Coach Carroll, some of the clues that he's given us, I kind of think he's going to be gone, which is a huge bummer to me because that's the one guy I just don't want to see in another uniform.
So I'm with Bryce being that I'm concerned about him being on the team next year because Jimmy Graham seems like one of the nicest dudes that has ever been. He seems like a really good guy. And that's the type of dude that you want making up your team. That's the type of guys you want playing for your franchise. And so I can understand why he's concerned about him being around. But yeah, I'm with you, Brandon. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, well, thanks for the call, Bryce. I think we all want Jimmy Graham and his productivity here. It's just a weird fit. But I don't know, maybe they got some tricks up their sleeve, and maybe this Schottenheimer offense is going to be a whole different thing we've never seen before. Who knows? But it would take a miracle.
You're more optimistic about Schottenheimer than I am. Oh, my goodness.
Look, I had to go major optimistic when they signed Eddie Lacy, man. I had to keep convincing myself, maybe he could do something like he did his rookie year. Maybe he'll put the donut down and lose some weight and really have some speed. Didn't work out. So,
yeah.
Anyway, let's go to, okay, that was Bryce. Thanks for the call, Bryce. Let's go to, all right, let's try Brandan again. He was the first call I was trying to get to. Brandan seems to be back now. Let's try this. Brandan, are you there? Brandan, are you here?
Yes, Norb. What's up?
Brandan, what's up? Sorry about the connectivity issues earlier, but I think we got all worked out. So what's going on, man? What's your thoughts here? You got any questions for the guys from the Seahawkers podcast?
Well, I just wanted to ask them about the offensive line and who do you think we can get, like the draft or free agency?
Yeah, I think the question everybody's got on their mind is what do the Seahawks do about the offensive line? I think the big question is how many of the guys do we have now stay? How many of the guys do we need to get either free agency or are we looking to the draft, to shore it up? What do you guys think?
Well, I think they made steps to fixing that last year. You can't underestimate the Dwayne Brown trade. That was such an enormous trade to bring in a franchise-type left tackle. And you've already heard Schneider talk about the way that he wants to take care of Dwayne Brown for the rest of his career and have him finish as Seahawks. So now you've got left tackle handled. That's on lockdown. And you got Justin Britt at center, who's a league average center. Perfect. Thank you. I'll take that. That works for me. And then I really feel like with Jermaine Ifedi last year, basically, it was the knucklehead factor that was keeping him back. That was the biggest problem with him, is all the stupid penalties, the unnecessary roughness, the personal fouls, things like that. You know where I've seen that before? I've seen that before at right tackle for the Seattle Seahawks. His name is Breno Giacomini. And when he finally got his poop in a group and he actually got it together, he was a really solid right tackle. Pair that with Ethan Posick, who I think has talent. He really shined. He made the all-rookie team. He just wasn't strong enough last year. And get him a full offseason in a NFL weight training program, and I really think you can see some gains there. Those are fixable things with those two players. So it's not a lack of talent. These are things that are very, very fixable. And a new, more consistent voice other than Tom Cable, I think, will help too. And then as far as the rest of it, everybody keeps saying this free agency class is terrible. Look, they said that last year, and the Vikings redid their entire offensive line, and voila, it was great. There's guys out there. Evaluating free agent offensive linemen might be one of the hardest things to do from the outside looking in, but I promise you there's guys out there.
I gotta ask you though, Adam, as far as Jermaine Ifedi though, we know about the penalty problems. I think he's the most penalized lineman, if I'm not mistaken, at least one of the most penalized.
Player. I think
I was gonna go with player.
Player, okay, just player.
Yeah.
But you brought up Giacomini, and I love Giacomini. When they let him go, I was bummed because that guy was a man beast, man. He would just plow guys over. I love the way he and led the way for Marshawn Lynch. But I don't necessarily feel I see the same talent there with Jermaine Ifedi. Now, the problem is it seems like a lot of times the reason he was getting penalized is because the guy gets beat and then he has to hold all the time. I could be wrong there, but because I don't know about, I'm not no offensive, line coach or anything like that. But I guess I'm still waiting to feel like the talent has measured up to what we expected from him as a first-round draft pick. And I don't know what your thoughts are, Brandan, on this, if you feel differently about it, but do you feel the same man crush on Jermaine Ifedi that it's just a matter of him cleaning up his act, but the talent is there? Or does he need to improve the talent as well as get the penalties down?
I don't have a huge man crush on him, but I see him having a spot on the team, and whether it's at right tackle, maybe they move him back inside the guard and they're looking for another guy at right tackle. Maybe Posick is more suited to be a right tackle with Mike Solari now as the offensive line coach. We don't necessarily even know where he may or may not slot guys. And I know Adam is going to poop his pants when I say this, but George Fant could have a spot on this offensive line, Adam.
I know. Hey, yeah, you know, everybody, George got hurt so early on in the season that everybody kind of forgot that George Fant was going to be the second coming of Walter Jones, you know, in 2017. It just didn't quite happen, but now he's going to be back, the converted basketball player to offensive left tackle. He's going to be back next year. I don't know, maybe he slides into the right tackle position. Maybe you move Jermaine Ifedi inside to the right guard. I don't know. What do you think, man? I know Adam loves him some George Fant.
There is not enough Fantberry Kool-Aid in the world for me to drink to believe that crap. Like, the last time this dude played football before he was in the pros was the 8th grade. The 8th grade. I'm sorry. That guy goes and tears out his knee, and he's somehow going to be better when he comes back from it? I'm thinking not so much. Now I'm done with Fant. I'm over these stupid experiments with taking a guy who's barely played, whether he's played defensive line or he hasn't played since 8th grade. That was all Tom Cable crap. I'm so glad that's over. Let's get guys who have played. Let's say if we need a left guard, maybe let's go out. We'll find somebody who's played left guard his whole life. Let's do that. I know that sounds crazy, but I just want a guy who can play left guard.
Hey, but you gotta look at the positive about George Fant. It cost them nothing to keep him on the roster. He's making like peanuts to be on the team. Am I right? So it's not like they have he takes up a roster spot, but he's not costing him a bunch of money to have him on there. So why not give him a run and see how he does in training camp? You never know. He might battle for that position and find his way into the starting role. You never know. So, I mean, I guess
there's a chance. There's a chance.
I might jump off a cliff if that happens. I cannot sit and watch this team cobble together another offensive line out of a bunch of nobodies again for another year and watch Russell Wilson run around like a chicken with his head cut off. I mean, can we just not do that? Let's just not do that. Let's not be the worst.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that offensive line was. We thought last year it couldn't get any worse. It's as worse can be, and we're lucky Russell Wilson isn't rolling around on a wheelchair right now. Though the punishment he's been taking over the last 2 seasons, he wants to play till he's 40. He'd be lucky to make it to 32. The rate things are going right now. So yeah, we got to get him some protection for damn sure. So
you know why he looks so happy in all those pictures of him in a Yankees uniform? Because he doesn't have to worry about an offensive line to play baseball. He can just go out there and play.
Well, that's true. Let's just hope he doesn't take a line drive off of a part of his body like our pitcher did the other day. So, hopefully Russell just plays his catch, makes some plays, hits a few home runs, and gets back to football.
Yeah.
I think it's Brian Cashman the other day say that he might play in a spring training game. No, I do not want to see that. It's bad enough having to look at Russell Wilson in a Yankees uniform. Of all things, I hate the Yankees. So like that it's really gross. It makes me throw up a little bit. But the idea that he would actually go out there and play, please no. He's got a job. And it's not playing second base for the Yankees.
Well, and I think it's funny how many people have still been in a panic. I've been trying to call them the panic and tell everybody, oh no, Russell Wilson's going to New York. What are we going to do? It's like, no, guys. He's not going anywhere. It's just a little PR stunt, He's just, it's just all for show and preseason, all that kind of stuff. But man, I'd hate for them to prove us all wrong and actually see him competing in a game and, possibly doing something to mess himself up prior to our off-season activities, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Nice story. I understand Russell Wilson wanting to do it, with his dad, him saying that his dad was a Yankees fan, lifelong Yankees fan. And so, after his father passed, this is something that he wanted to do for his dad. So, I know as a Mariners fan or, really any other baseball team fan that's not the Yankees, it's tough to see him in a Yankees uniform. But when you put that perspective in it, you go, okay, Russell wanted to do this for his dad. I'll suck it up myself.
He wants to go to baseball summer camp every offseason. That's what Russell wants to do. He's still 12. I get it. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can go into just don't play in a game.
Yes, I'm with you there. So, anyway, a long answer to your question, Brandan. So, we'll see how the George Fant and the rest of the O-line experience goes this year with all the changes happening. But let's go to another call. Let's take it to, I think this is my buddy out of Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Is this David from the 770? What's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Hey, it's David in Atlanta, one of the regular friends of the show. David, for those of you guys who don't know, David is a huge fan of the Atlanta Falcons. Has been a guest on my show many times. Yeah. And we've had our share of...
What'd they say?
What'd you say, Brandan?
So, David, here's the thing. I may crap on Atlanta Falcons fans more than any other fan base in the world. I've done it for years. I'm sorry in advance. I'm just saying.
Well, you come to the right place.
Well, if you don't know how I am, actually, I've been a trash talker for 9 years, and Norb and I have had our things and whatever. So you need to pay attention to my channel more, because don't take it personally, but I can understand why you would take shots at us because you can't beat us. So, but it is what it is.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
What I'm saying?
Fire.
Let me give a shout out to Pete Carroll's Gum. Norb knows her. She's a big Seahawks fan, guys. You may want to. I would highly suggest you check her channel. She's very knowledgeable and a loyal Seahawks fan. I know she's listening now. What I wanted to say was, because the free agency is coming, and even I've gone back and forth with Norb and Pete Carroll's Gum, Megan, about this. You guys got to understand, Atlanta is the Seattle Seahawks of the NFC South. Okay, you already can't beat us. We got your defensive coach, and the scheme is a lot similar, correct? And you guys were talking about money. The Super Bowl is here in Atlanta this year. I'm already devastated from 2 years ago, guys. You guys can understand, but then again, maybe you can't because you did win a Super Bowl. But Matt Ryan is going to be, from what I heard, restructuring his contract. We're going to, it appears, get rid of Don Terpo and Taylor Gabriel. So that's going to open up some money. And something tells me, Brandan and Adam, sir, that we will get one of the guys from your Seattle defensive line. I don't know if it's going to be Thomas or Averill. Somebody's going to come here. And then next year I could even see more, because Atlanta's on the cusp of winning a Super Bowl. And people can say what they want, but I firmly believe, that we're ready, long overdue, and I would love to see Seattle and Atlanta in the playoffs again in the NFC Championship game. Reason being, we will beat you again. But I just wanted, to get your thoughts from a Seattle-Atlanta perspective, with the coach that we have, Dan Quinn. You guys know him well. How do you, from an outsider looking in, look at Atlanta? Do you look at Atlanta as a rivalry? Do you look at Atlanta in a different light than you did before we got Dan Quinn? Tell me your thoughts from a Seahawks Falcons perspective.
Well, first of all, the Falcons are nowhere near on the cusp of winning a Super Bowl. As long as Matty Mediocre is your quarterback, it's just not going to happen. He's Matty Mediocre. He's had one great year in his entire career. I don't know how he got the nickname Matty Ice. It just doesn't even make sense to me. But Matty Mediocre cannot take you to the promised land, number one. Number two.
Wow.
Well, they had their window when they were up 23 to 8 or 28 to 3, right? And then when you have that kind of window, you need to go through it.
Right.
And the Seahawks had that window at the 1 yard line before. That's snafu.
Yeah, well, we have that in common, David. I guess we have that solidarity.
The difference is Well,
I actually appreciate Atlanta Falcons for losing that Super Bowl the way they did, because it was actually more brutal than the way that we lost. So it took a little of the heat off. So thanks for that. But but the idea that you're going to see a few Seattle players jump ship to go to Atlanta, I don't see that happening from the defensive side of the ball. But you know where I would give you one here, David? Jimmy Graham would be a nice fit there. Jimmy Graham would be a nice fit there.
Jimmy Graham was actually being talked about here in Atlanta radio, but to back on what you were saying, I didn't say a lot of Seahawks players. I said one, because you even said it yourself. You got a lot of top guys on the defense. but you have a limited amount of money to spend. We're freeing up space. A lot of the people in Seattle know Dan Quinn. I don't know the relationship between Dan Quinn and the players. You already can't beat us. So what's the old saying? If you can't beat us, join us, right? So I could see Atlanta getting one of your top guys and stuff like that. And I think it was Adam who said this, the one with the beanie and the big headsets. He said something like, if Blair Walsh, I do remember, I think you said Blair Walsh, I don't know if you're talking about the whole season, but I think you're talking about the last game. If he made the field goal that you guys would have made it, we beat Carolina, so you wouldn't have made it regardless.
Oh,
that's a whole other thing. But I hope Atlanta fans send Pete Carroll a gift basket this year, because the only reason that we lost to you guys this year was all Pete Carroll. That was a coaching loss, man. That had nothing to do with the talent on the field. That was an aberration beyond aberration.
Yeah, the fake field goal in the first half.
It was a coaching aberration. No, I'm sorry. Go on, Norb.
Oh, well, yeah, I think you're talking about the fake field goal attempt in the first half. I think that whole game had so many things that, we should have won that. We should have won that game.
You know where I'm going to go with this, don't you? You know where I'm going to go with this.
Well, I think where I know you're going to go with this. David, are you still of the belief that you're going to get Richard Sherman? Do you still believe Richard Sherman is coming to the Falcons?
If Richard Sherman didn't do that obvious hold with the gift wrap of the refs 2 years ago, we would have beat you in that game too, most likely.
Man,
that was after the Julio Jones push-off, but that's cool. But here's the problem with you wanting one of the defensive players from the Seahawks here. Really, the only star that's not under contract is Sheldon Richardson. He's the only guy that's going to be coming up as a free agent. And again, I think they'll end up tagging him or at least coming to terms with him. Now, the rest of whether that's Earl Thomas or Rich Sherman, well, Cliff Avrill's going to retire, but all those other guys, they're still under contract. That would have to be a trade. So it's not like they can just up and leave.
Well, the Falcons are looking at some options. Just like I said, I mean, look, take this as a compliment when I tell you. I would love to have some guys from Seattle because their defense has been dominant for years, and why wouldn't you want to get some players who can make a serious impact? And with the youth and with the cornerbacks that we have, the speed that we have, some of the veterans that we do have, you mix somebody with a Super Bowl championship pedigree, I could actually see it happening. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm in a dream world or something like that. But to know that I won a Super Bowl championship, and I know we need Super Bowl players to get that, why not get it from Seattle? You guys have won a Super Bowl.
Hey, look, David, I understand, you're gonna be hosting the Super Bowl, so I know it's natural to start drinking your Kool-Aid big time because, hey, we're hosting the Super Bowl. It's time for us to be the first team to host it. The Minnesota Vikings, their fans all believed they were gonna have it. And they were very close, by the way. But, David, I appreciate your enthusiasm. I think it's very admirable that you want our players because we are the envy. We are the envy of many teams around the league as far as the defense is concerned. But you ain't getting our players, man. They ain't going over there.
Well, look, let me go and say two quick things. It's not a question. I know you guys got some calls. I came across this video and I saw you guys on it. You guys are really good, man. So I will definitely sub up your channel. Kind of follow if you have anything, during the season. I'll call in every now and then, grace you with my presence. And you did say one thing. How did Matty Ice get his name, Matty Ice? Well, you guys know firsthand what he's capable of, so you're welcome, sir.
All right, David.
It was nice talking to you guys.
David, thanks for the call, man.
He's in between a 10th and 15th best quarterback in the league almost every single year, except for one. You're right. I know exactly what he is.
Okay. Oh, this is good stuff, man. So that was David in Atlanta. Let's keep the calls coming in.
David.
Oh yeah,
that was fun. Yeah.
We've had way too many collaborations. Unfortunately, he has managed to get on the winning side. I've touched too often, which has been very frustrating for me. But we're gonna turn that around next year. But I wouldn't mind seeing those guys in the playoffs, especially coming to our house. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But we got to take care of our business first because we got a lot of off-season things to work out on here. All right, let's talk to, let's go to the 470. Who's this and where are you calling from?
My name is Blake and I am in Georgia.
Another Georgia. You're not an Atlanta Falcons fan, are you?
Oh, no. I moved to Georgia. No,
Okay.
No way.
I was going to say I was going to have to hang up and get another caller. Anyway.
Back. Oh my God.
No.
All right, so this is
There's
Blake
not
from
that many Falcons fans in the country. There's no way you have.
So Blake from Georgia. What's on your mind tonight, man?
So much is on my mind. I'll try to get through it really fast because I know you have a lot of callers right now. But sadly, as a Seahawks fan, I don't think Cliff Averill or Cam Chancellor are going to come back because, it's kind of late in their career. They just got those neck injuries, so I don't see those guys coming back. But earlier when you guys were talking about franchise tags, if I had to pick one player, like say we were not able to afford any of our players and we just had to franchise tag one of them, I would pick Paul Richardson. And that's because I think he is an elite receiver, and he's slowly becoming one of the best. But I just don't want to see him end up on another team because that would really suck. I think Sheldon Richardson was good, but towards the end of the season he started doing a lot worse. And I'm kind of on the same boat as Norb. I think if Jimmy Graham isn't in like the 20-yard line or shorter, he's not even like a receiver. His hands he can't catch anything if he's not in the red zone. So I would pick Paul Richardson out of all those. And you guys were talking about the offensive line earlier. But I think in this draft, our defensive line, I think, Michael Bennett has another year left. Frank Clark is stepping up. I think we're fine on defensive line. We could have more pass rushers, but I think we should focus on offensive line because right now I think Chris Carson and Mike Davis have so much potential, but with that offensive line, it's just no running backs able to succeed in Seattle.
Yeah,
Also,
that was basically
I would-
death trying to run behind that offensive line. I mean, I don't care. You could have put Beast Mode himself back there in his prime, and he would have averaged maybe another, 0.2 of a yard more per carry. There's no human being that could have made that work. As far as Chris Carson and Mike Davis, I think they're both fine players. I think they have a limited ceiling. I don't see those guys as potential difference makers at that position group. As far as using the franchise tag on Paul Richardson, there is no way I'm paying Paul Richardson. Franchise tag is average at top 5
million. Yeah, is what.
It's average at
skip for the Dolphins. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You can get him for a lot cheaper than that. If he's staying with Seattle, the good thing is he'll be a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Franchise tag, that would cost what? Well over $10 million, right?
Yeah, it's like 16, I think.
16 million? Yeah. Paul Richardson is not worth $16 million. But yeah, I think he could be had for less than that, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Brandon, but I like Paul Richardson. I think he could be a hell of a receiver. He just has a lot to prove. I mean, do you think that he's somebody that could blossom into a top 5 type receiving talent?
I don't know about top 5. I just think for what he gives you, and we talked a little bit about it on our last show about some of the things that he does do well, and high pointing the football when Russell throws it up to him down the field. And then one of the things that he showed us this last year was his ability to catch it along the sidelines too and get his feet in bounds. Something that we've seen Doug Baldwin do so well over the years. So those are the two things that I see him do well. But to pay him number 1 receiver money, where I think if you do that, then you're going to have a hard time keeping Tyler Lockett when it comes to sign him to a deal next year. And of the two guys, the difference that Lockett makes in the kicking game and the impact that I think he can have in the receiving game, being maybe the number 2 guy, I would take him over Richardson.
I don't know. I think Richardson has a lot of potential. I think he's going to have a 1,000-yard season next year. That's a bold prediction, but I think he's going to have a 1,000-yard season.
Tate did
I'd
it when
love
he
for that
left.
to happen. Yeah, I'd love for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
He had He had about 700 yards this past year.
Yeah.
Just close. He was getting there.
Yeah, Jermaine Kearse
Well,
type
when
numbers.
you guys were saying,
Yeah, Jermaine Kearse type of numbers you're saying. Actually, Jermaine Kearse did very well at the New York Jets. He did better with the Jets than I think any season he had here in Seattle. Am I right?
Another guy who had a down year last year and then bounced back. See, guys can have bad years and still come back and be good players. It's okay. Because they have one bad year doesn't mean they're on the downside of their career all of a sudden.
Does Malik McDowell have a down year and then he'll be better next year?
Well, if he could suit up, it'd be an improvement. Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole nother topic of discussion. Anyway. All right, well.
By the way, earlier,
yeah, go ahead.
Someone was saying something, good about the offensive line and how George Fant could make a comeback or something. I would have rather had Casey Williams over George Fant. But you can say so many good things about the offensive line, but I think in free agency there's so many good offensive linemen, and I don't trust Jermaine Ifedi or Ethan Posick or whatever his name is. Dwayne Brown, I think he's good, but he's old, and that center we have is Joey Britt. He's solid, but I think everyone else on the offensive line is just, I don't know, there's so much potential in the free agency right now, and I think our offensive line could, oh, God. I feel like the only person who's able to get rushing yards behind that offensive line is Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's kind of how it played out. I think Dwayne Brown, one of the things that you saw with him, and I think a lot of Seahawks fans forgot too, was that when he came back to the Seahawks, he immediately got a high ankle sprain and was able to play through that high ankle sprain through the rest of the season. So you got to give him a lot of credit. And I think that impacted his performance. So I don't think we saw the best Dwayne Brown that we're going to get. I think.
And it was still decent.
And he was still decent, yeah. And I think Ethan Posick, yeah, a lot of people point out his weakness. One thing that I realized, Posick, coming out of the NFL combines right now, he benched 26 reps during the combine, which was, it's pretty good for an offensive lineman. So I think he has that ability now to gain strength going into his second NFL season. I think we'll see Posick be a lot better. Ifedi, I'm curious to see how things are going to clean up with him. I really see that the offensive line, I don't expect the Seahawks to really address it in free agency. I do expect them to do it in the draft. I think they'll go pass rush, though, with the first pick, depending on if they stay put or if they move. But the offensive line, I just don't expect them to do a lot in terms of free agency, especially going after a big name right away.
All right, well, I'll let you guys get to another call because I know there's a lot of people waiting.
Yeah. All right, well, Blake, appreciate that. And we'll talk soon, man. Go Hawks. All right, let's go to DJ over in Cali. I've been waiting a long time. DJ, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
What's up, man?
What's up? Good to hear from you. How's it going?
Good. I've been really following Russell Wilson lately.
Yeah, watching him hitting the ball with the Yankees over there. Watching that news.
If he actually plays for the Yankees, which I won't think they will, I would want them to lose, so that he would change his mind.
I don't think we have to worry about that, right, guys? He might play a spring training game. That's about it, right?
The thing in the draft that I hope happens is that Quentin Nelson falls to us, which I don't think will happen, but that's the dream scenario.
Yeah, the guys are speechless on that one.
I think that's where it gets a little hard for me and Brandon. Neither one of us are big college football people, and so to have a good sense of the prospects coming up through the draft, we're neither one of us is even close to an expert in that area whatsoever. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the draft. I think all of us could agree, right, that there's no way we pick in the first round. They're going to trade that first pick and pick up a second and third rounder, considering we don't have one.
We don't have one, yeah.
I could still take somebody in the first round. I know somebody in the chat room brought up Derwin James, the safety out of Florida, I think is where he's Florida out of. State? And a lot of people mocking Derwin James to Seattle. And, we've talked to Rob Staten on the show from SeahawksDraftBlog.com, and he's compared Derwin James a lot to Eric Reed. Well, Eric Reed, for the 49ers, safety there, he's going to be a free agent. You could go out and you could sign Eric Reed to a deal for probably what you would pay for a rookie contract. And if you're going to get that type of production, yeah.
I'm not sure you get Eric Reed on that kind of the cheap. Is Eric Reed an upgrade from Bradley McDougald? Like, wouldn't you rather re-sign McDougald?
I would probably rather have McDougald, but I don't think the market for Reed is going to be very high.
How old is Reed now? How old is Reed?
I think he's just coming off his rookie deal. I
Like
don't think. I think
27.
he's in his.
So he's got plenty of gas in the tank. I don't know. That
27.
yeah.
Okay. I'm more interested in another ex-49er. I'm more interested in Carlos
Hyde.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy can run. He's run on us quite a few times.
Yes. And Norb, so I sent you a Facebook friend request.
Oh, okay.
DEEJAE Kong.
All right, I'll look it up. I'll look it up after we're done here. So, yeah, well.
Accept it when you get a chance, because I sent you it.
All right.
Well.
All right, I'll go through it. I got a stack of friend requests. It's really high, but I'll go through it and see if I can find you in there, man. Facebook only limits you to 5,000. I'm at my limit. So, too much Facebook. But yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. And I'll look for it.
I mean, like, in free agency, I want to keep Jimmy Graham, but I don't know what to do. And then Kirk Cousins, he might sign with the Jets, the Broncos, the Vikings, the Jaguars, not because they extended Bortles.
Man, if you're Kirk Cousins right now, don't you feel like just you're sitting on top of a gold mine and just basically with a little crown on your head going, okay, who's going to take me? Who's going to take me here? Who's going to pay me this massive amount of money? He's sitting in a pretty good spot.
Kirk Cousins is building a vault in his house, man, because they're going to back up the Brinks trucks and just dump money in there. And I hope to God it's the Arizona Cardinals.
Be the Cardinals, yeah.
The overpay for Captain Kirk. Oh, please, please overpay for Kirk Cousins. I would love that to happen so much.
Especially if they need to free up cap room and they can start cutting some of their defensive players too, because I think that's what they're going to have to do to make that work, and that would be ideal for Seattle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Arizona's not in a good situation right now, that's for sure. So yeah, let's watch them burn, baby.
San Francisco really scares me because this is where I'm from.
Do they scare you though? We just saw them sign our backup former right tackle to 2 years, $8 million. Who was the right? See, I can't even remember his name now.
Yeah, I'm blanking on it too.
The dude that was supposed to be.
I don't even know who you guys are talking about. Our former right tackle,
Gary Gilliam.
Gilliam.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
2 years,
the guy that
$8
caught
million
the touchdown
for
pass
Gilliam.
in the NFC Championship.
Yes, I think he was left. He played some left tackle. I think they were moving him all over the place. But yeah, that was a weird deal.
Wanted
his
him
last
to be
year.
the left tackle.
Left tackle. He started, then they moved him to the
left.
right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was George Fant before there was George Fant. It was great. It was amazing.
He was George Fant, who actually played some football before the 8th grade.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, man. We're going to get to some other callers. But
See you later.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it, man. All right.
I gotta watch the end of this Warriors game.
All right. All right. Take it easy. All right. Let's see. Let's keep this going. Let's go to Caleb over in Arizona. Caleb, what's going on, man?
Hey, what up, Norm?
What's happening?
So, I hear you guys, everyone talks about Earl Thomas, Sherman, Chancellor next year or like next few years. What I'm thinking back here is, what about Griffin and Maxwell? The two guys that kind of took over when Sherman was gone, Chancellor injured, Earl on and off.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation. We know that Shaquille Griffin's here to stay. He's doing great. That other side is interesting because you got Deshaun Shedd coming off of his knee injury, almost made it back to the defensive backfield, didn't quite make it back. So you got Deshaun Shedd, and then you got Byron Maxwell. Now Maxwell, what's his situation? Is he free agent too?
Both Shedd and Maxwell.
They're both are.
Yeah.
So, and I know you guys talked about it a little bit too on your podcast, but share some thoughts on that side of the ball in regards to those two guys, and that whole secondary situation is very interesting with the Sherman coming off the injury and those two guys. What do you think's going to happen there?
I think that Byron Maxwell, what his market value is this offseason is going to be fascinating. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. This is a player that made his reputation while with the Seahawks, mastered that kick step situation that all the cornerbacks play, and got paid by the Eagles, and then kind of flounders there under Chip Kelly and doesn't play very well, gets traded to the Dolphins, and that's an up and down season or so, and then is kicked to the curb and really was just sitting on the street available in the middle of the season last year when Richard Sherman got hurt. We sign him. He comes back. He plays great. He really played well. If I'm a GM on another team, I have a really difficult time paying Byron Maxwell any kind of money. Seems like the only place he can play is Seattle. So I think maybe you could pick him up on the cheap. I think Deshaun Shedd is another guy that flies under the radar because of the injury. He was just up and coming before he tore up his knee. And people seem to forget how well he was playing at that right corner position at that point. He is a supremely talented athlete with all of the size attributes that the Seahawks look for at corner. I feel like those are two guys you could probably pick up on the cheap. I'm really hoping for it.
We had the caller earlier talk about a dude that could go to Atlanta. Deshaun Shedd might be one of those guys, just based on the history of Dan Quinn and knowing how he can play. So that could be one guy who goes to Atlanta.
That's true. David in Atlanta, you might be getting a piece after all. That is true.
There you go.
He's
David.
Very much right for the picking if the price is right, for sure.
But if you can get Byron Maxwell for the same kind of money that you were paying Jeremy Lane, I think they're probably going to cut Jeremy Lane this offseason. They tried to trade him for Dwayne Brown, so I don't see Lane coming back next year. And if you can pick up Byron Maxwell for that kind of money, then I'd say the Seahawks should go for it.
Yep. There you go, Caleb. From the experts, the Seahawkers podcast perspective. Very interesting stuff there in regards to the drama that is the cornerback position of your Seattle Seahawks. So, thanks for your call, man. Appreciate it.
Well, you too.
All right. We'll talk soon. Let's go to another caller here. I'm going to put on, I think this is Rohan from California, a 49ers fan. Let's see if this is the case. We were talking about the Niners. Rohan, is this you?
Yep.
Man, for the record, you are a 49ers fan, are you not?
Yep.
Okay.
Live and bleed red and gold.
Okay, all right. Well, this is interesting. We had Falcons fans earlier, and now we got an actual 49er fan in the house.
Yeah.
We were just talking about, do the 49ers really scare us? Well, give us a reason why we should be scared about the 49ers.
Okay, if you guys were mentioning Carlos Hyde, 49er running backs have historically burned you guys. Do I need to mention Frank Gore at all?
No, I still have flashbacks.
Let's see. That. Okay, 2, even if you guys do get Carlos Hyde, the Niners can just go out there, throw Le'Veon Bell $25 million, and you guys will be screwed again. 3, Jimmy G is the real deal. 4, I'm not one bit scared about Marcus Peters because it's like John Lynch literally got his wide receivers to counter him. Like if you think about it, like Garcon and Goodwin are the perfect counters for Peters.
What are you talking about? What do you mean the perfect counter for Peters? What are you talking about? You're talking about just as far as him as a teammate?
Peters is not a tackling type of guy. Like Peters is not a tackler. Like Tony Romo said it himself. Peters is that type of guy who covers the number one threat. For Niners, that would be Pierre Garcon, and Garcon is a physical guy. Takes 2 people to bring him down. So.
Yeah, he's a ball hawk.
One issue, Marcus Peters lacks physicality. 2, if he's going to have to be a ball hawk, that means put him with someone less physical, which would be Marquise Goodwin. Mr. Olympian will run right by him. So.
I think Niners, at the very least, need to keep just owning the Rams. I would be okay with that.
There you go.
Yeah, because weren't those their only 2 wins 2 years ago, and then they did it toward the end of the season with Jimmy G, and you might have the better looking quarterback.
Also,
but, I mean, that doesn't scare anybody.
On my live stream a few weeks back, I took a few gambles with my predictions. I said the Niners would win in Green Bay and sweep the Rams. So, that's bit of a gamble there.
That's pretty clairvoyant. Here's the thing about the Niners. I do I will say this, man. I do like the direction that the Niners are going. If I was a 49ers fan, I would feel legitimately excited. When they hired John Lynch, I thought that was a very shrewd signing. Like, I know he had never done the GM job before and all that, but I really felt like he was a guy that had his finger on the pulse of the league and would be excellent at that position and has proven to be excellent at it to this point. Very shrewd trades, good in the draft, and I really like the way that they're building on defense. I mean, when you look at who is the cat out of Stanford on the defensive line they chose with like their first pick? Solomon? What was his name?
Thomas.
Yeah, he's a monster, man. And I mean, you pair that up with some of the other draft picks. I like the direction the 49ers are going. Handsome Jimmy will be a good quarterback in this league, but please understand that with a little bit of tape that was put out here towards the end of the last season, that he's going to come back down to earth a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to be terrible. I'm just saying that he's not going to be out there going 16-0. Like that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
He's probably not even going to have another 3-game winning streak next year. But the Niners are a team on the rise. They don't scare me next year, but in year 2, year 3 of this Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch experiment, yeah, I'm starting to get a little worried.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, you guys might need a new offensive line with DeForest Buckner coming up the middle.
That'd be helpful. Yeah, we might look into that. I appreciate the pro tip.
Buckner, Aaron Donald. We have a few guys that we have to worry about in
Chandler
in
Jones.
West. So I feel like going offensive line in the draft, for like a really good solid guard, that'd be all right.
Yeah, we pretty much have to worry about everybody when it comes to our offensive line. Everybody's a threat. Not just the All-Stars.
Cardinals got rid of Calais Campbell, and that he's with the Jags now. Yeah. No breaks.
Another thing I noticed with the Niners is that their backup safeties are better than their starters, and I don't know why, but that's the case. Like Jaquiski Tartt is so much better than Eric Reed. Adrian Colbert is so much better than Jimmy Ward. So I think they should let Ward, who I think is done with his rookie contract this year, and Eric Reed walk, and then just keep Adrian Colbert and Tartt. And then right there, you're going to have two guys who, oh my God, what is this? There's just a band of motorcycles riding in front of me.
What, are you driving? Are you driving and calling in?
No, I'm just looking out of the window.
Oh,
and I think there were 7 or 8 motorcycles down below.
All right.
So, yeah. No,
well, thanks for the breakdown of your entire 49er roster. We appreciate that. At least we know what to look for as the season comes around next year. But, yeah, it is going to be interesting. Yep. But I do believe the whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing, he's a good quarterback. But just like when Kaepernick was on the top of the world, they eventually figured out him, not comparing the two. But every player has a blueprint.
They are not.
And I'm not comparing them at all, but I'm just saying every player has a blueprint that every team's trying to figure out. And eventually it's a matter of can that player adapt to the adjustments the other teams do to them. So Seattle will be looking out for it, I'm sure. So, well, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. All right. How you guys doing on time? You guys still okay?
Well, I think we have to get to Anthony's call because I think it's almost dinner time for him. And I've heard him.
Okay. All right. I'll put Anthony on. Anthony, let's see if he's still here. Anthony D, are you there?
We are the 12 man Seahawks. We got your back. Yeah. NorbCam, what's up?
I love it, man. Singing some NorbCam action. What's up, man?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
We're doing good. Yeah, I know. It's kind of been a slow off season. My daughters are busy with volleyball, so they got me running around doing all that. But, life is good. I'm excited about this off season, talking about Seahawks free agency, the draft coming up. Yeah, what's on your mind, man? Let's talk a little Seahawks football. What you got?
Well, let's make it quick because dinner is gonna be done very quick.
Okay, well, let's make it quick. Let's make a move. We got dinner, man. We got priorities. What's up?
I'm having hamburgers fries for dinner.
What's for dinner? What are you having, man?
Okay,
real quick. What are you having? What's on the menu?
Hamburgers and French fries.
Oh yeah, America's #1 dish. So what do you got?
Well. I don't know, because I got a sprint fuck because I got excited that you took my call.
You can't do this, man. You waited an hour to get on here. You can't choke at the biggest moment of the game. You're at the 1 yard line. It's second and goal at the 1. You got to bring it.
How about that, dude?
I hyped you up, Anthony. I'm so disappointed. I saw him waiting.
Wait. Hey, we're gonna bail Anthony out.
This is what you're doing to me?
No, we're gonna bail Anthony out. What? You and Brandan and Norb. Who is the Seahawk on the number one Seahawk on the team who could down the most cheeseburgers? Since he's having burgers for dinner, who would be your pick?
Oh man.
I'm going Jaron Reed.
I was gonna say Jaron Reed.
Yes.
Because you got to go the defensive tackle.
Yeah.
You got to go D tackle.
Hey, Brandan.
Here's the thing. I think Mike Bennett could be a sleeper in there. Cause I'm pretty sure he smokes the weed now and then, and I could see him getting a little high and just downing a bunch of cheeseburgers. I think he could get
marijuana.
I don't know, man. He doesn't look like he's got that big, kind of huge, empty, big, gigantic barrel stomach to take all those cheeseburgers. Not like who's the guy? Brandon Meebane. Now that guy looks like he could chow down a few double cheeseburgers, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, you're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah. What's up?
But Black Santa, Black Santa can pound out some cheese.
I was gonna ask you if you got my message about a movie I wanted to go see.
Oh yes, I did see that.
Oh yeah. If it's alright with it's raining outside. I was gonna ask you if you want to come over to Yakima, maybe, on spring break, the first week of April, with my brother Quentin and my mom, and watch some I Can Only Imagine.
Go to Yakima to watch the movie? It's going to be a long drive to go catch the movie, man.
It's up to you.
I might check out the movie, but I don't think I can make the trip over, though. We've got a lot of stuff going on for spring break as it is, so I'm going to have to be sticking around here. We got volleyball tournaments going on and stuff, so I'm not traveling anywhere this spring break, it doesn't look like. So, but thanks for the invite, though, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that you want me to join you to watch that movie. And I love me some movies.
Yeah.
So.
I love Christian movies. How about that?
Well, that's true. That's definitely right up your alley, man.
Matter of fact, Brandan and Adam.
Brandon and Adam.
Yeah.
You want to hear something really cool?
Let's hear it. We've been
waiting for something cool.
I was the one that wanted you on the phone here, Anthony.
I'm writing a Christian movie, and I asked Norb if he wanted to direct it with me. He said, "Well, let's see the script and we'll think about it." What do you think of that?
Right on, man.
I think that's one more movie script than I'll ever be able to write, man. Hats off to you, dude.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
You're doing it, man.
Writing the script.
I gotta give you props. You have been writing it. And that's good, man. That's where it starts. You got to put the pen to the paper, the fingers to the keys, and just write the damn thing. So keep working on it, man.
I don't think I'm letting it right though. So I'm gonna have to send you a bunch of pictures.
All right. Well, whatever you do, just keep writing. It doesn't matter if it's formatted or whatever. Just go for it. But it's all good, man.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna jump for some other callers. You should get to that cheese. You should get to that hamburger.
Enjoy dinner, buddy.
You get to your dinner, man, and we'll talk again soon. All right. Take it easy.
And wish me luck on writing that movie.
All right. Good luck, man. All right. Take care.
All right, buddy. See you later.
All right. Later.
Bye.
All right. You guys want to make a trip over to Yakima and watch a movie? You guys are free on spring break, right?
A little bit farther for us, I think.
Whatever, man. I'm going to Cancun. I'm gonna have me pina coladas, see some chicks in bikinis. That's what I'm doing on spring break. I ain't going to Yakima.
Really? You're going to Cancun for spring break?
No, that was all made up. But now it's what I would do.
Oh, that's what you would do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful this time of year.
You know what I literally will be doing over spring break is I will be taking pictures of little kids sitting on the Easter Bunny's lap in the California Center Mall.
Is that what you do? Are you a photographer?
I did. Yeah, I was for 10 years. Man.
Oh, all right.
I go back doing this. Yeah. So
hey, right on, man.
I'm going to make little children cry over spring break. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, that's cool. Well, let's see if someone else can make us cry here on the phone lines. To the 503. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on with NorbCam and Brandan and Adam. What's up?
Nothing much.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
I wanted to. This is kind of not one of the main, I would say main Seahawks players, but I want to talk about Quentin Jefferson. And I'm wondering about what might happen to him after he almost jumped into the Jaguars stands during that game against the Jags where they throw drinks at him.
Well, surprisingly, nothing happened to him. I was surprised no one got suspended after that game. Actually, they actually.
I was surprised that man didn't get suspended for the rest of the season after he just decided to jump into the stands after they threw something at him.
Well, let's just be grateful that those stands were 8 feet high and he couldn't pull himself up into the stands. Because if he'd actually gotten up there, oh man, that would have been a really, really bad situation. So fortunately, he couldn't do it. So I think that's the reason why, because they never actually did it. So he tried to, couldn't pull himself up there. Couldn't do the Lambeau leap.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to be thankful for anything in that situation, be thankful for Eric Kennedy. Eric Kennedy is the equipment manager for the Seattle Seahawks, and he was the man pulling Quentin Jefferson back down from trying to climb up in the stands. He had the wherewithal. Where were the coaches?
Where were the security guards?
It was Eric Kennedy who was right there pulling him back and talking to him. Now, the thing about, I think the reason why he wasn't suspended, if you look at it and you look at everything that went down, some of the things that were reported as to what was said by some of those fans, there were some racial slurs and some really gnarly stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, the fan has been banned for life from Jaguars games.
I think they were able to find and ban.
Yeah, so I think if you're looking at it, you have to understand that there was some justification for his outrage. And I think that's what the league had in its mind when they didn't suspend him, and the team had in its mind when they didn't suspend him. But thank God for Eric Kennedy, man. He saved the day.
Yeah. You threw a drink at a professional NFL player. What did you expect to happen? To not get in trouble for it?
Yeah,
you really don't get away with something like that.
Expect not to get beat down? You throw a drink at a large man, he might beat you down. That's just how it goes.
You're asking for him to jump into the stand.
Well, that's what happened when you get the liquid courage flowing through you. A few drinks here and there, you just your judgment gets a little bit off. So yeah, I'm glad those guys got found out though, man, because that's just not cool. It doesn't matter what the player or whatever's going on. You just don't do that, and so they got what they deserve too. So yeah,
I did want to say it's okay if I ask you one question, Norb.
Yeah, shoot.
Okay, so when the next season comes up, me and my dad are planning on going down to Seattle to see my first Seahawks game.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
And I always wanted to ask, when the first time you ever went to your first game, was it a very special moment for you?
You mean my very first game ever in my life?
The very first game you ever went to, at the stadium.
Well, if you want to talk about the very first game experience, for me, it is very special because we go back to my childhood. I believe I was in the 7th grade, and I was playing on my Little League team, the Talbot Hill Tigers, and we actually got to play before the Seahawks-Giants game in the Kingdom. We're talking 1981 here, folks. So I was a running back, and I actually scored a touchdown in the Kingdom before a Seahawks-Giants game, and my idiot teammate spiked the ball. I didn't spike it because I don't do that thing. He spiked the ball, penalized us, so we had to be marched back 15 yards, missed the extra point, so the game ended up in a tie, like the Seahawks-Arizona game from 2 years ago. But I digress.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a great moment. We got to watch the game from the sideline, but to be on the field and to actually be up close and to be that my first game, that was one of the most amazing moments of my life. So I think for anyone going to a Seahawks game, because I know it's hard to get to nowadays, it's so expensive. But yeah, the fact that you're going to get to go next year, that's awesome, because it is a really cool experience. And for those of you guys who've never been to a game, being in that stadium. It's not as intense as it had been in previous years. I feel like it's been watered down a little bit, but it's still pretty dang loud. And there's just something about being there and the energy of the fans and the fact that you feel like you're influencing the game by raising your voice and making noise. There's something fun about that interactivity and just the vibe, the electricity in the room, in the building. So yeah, it's awesome. You'll have a great time. So you have to let me know when you're coming out. Maybe we can meet up over there.
I will. I've definitely had family who's gone to NFL games. Like one of my mom's side of the family is the Cowboys. They've all been to Cowboys games. They say it's probably one of the best experiences of their lives, and they say I would definitely have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a lot of different.
Like it would be great.
Norb, I wish people could go to a football game in another town first, and then go to one in Seattle for their first one, just to know the difference between the two, because it's pretty incredible going to games in other cities and then seeing one in Seattle and what we have. It's a huge difference.
That is true.
All I know, dude, is when you go to that game, there is no way you're watching it with a frown. You're gonna have an awesome time, man. You're gonna have an awesome time.
Yeah, that stadium gets rocking, and
I'm gonna be losing my mind.
Yeah, you should bring some earplugs because I do, because man, it gets loud enough that you want to preserve your hearing for the long term. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, I've been to several stadiums over the last few years. I've been to MetLife, been to the Arizona Stadium, St. Louis a couple times, Tennessee last year, the LA Coliseum the other year, and nothing compares. Oh, even the Superdome in New Orleans. But man, nothing compares to Seattle. It's like, and at least in our section, we stand up. We're on our feet all the time. And it was like, I went to some other stadiums, like no one stood up, even unless it's like third down, fourth quarter. It's like, man, now they're finally standing up, but everyone's just much more chill. It was weird. So I agree, Adam. It would be a good perspective to see what it's like somewhere else and then come to here. Otherwise, it's like the reverse. It's like, man, it's kind of lame everywhere else. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. I was meant to ask you guys, Brandan and Adam, do you guys get to go to many games?
Yeah, we're good for one or two a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to New York last year for the game at MetLife, and then
cool.
Did you were supposed to go to the Skins game with me, but I was.
Yeah, but then I got stuck at the Sawmill and I couldn't go. But I think we're gonna try to get to London this year.
Are you guys going?
For the Seahawks Raiders game. Yeah.
I'm going too. So we got to meet up and do some collabs over there. Have you ever been? Have you guys ever been to London?
I have not.
First time. This will be my second time. We went there last year with my family, and when this popped up, it was like, oh man, we got to do it again. So yeah, it should be fun. We're going over there with my dad, so it'll be quite a fun with all. I know a ton of 12s who are heading over. So yeah, we'll have to meet up for sure. That'll be a fun little Seahawk fan reunion over there. So cool, man. Thanks for calling. Wait, what was your name again?
My name is Cameron.
Cameron, calling from where?
Yeah, Portland, Oregon.
Portland. All right, cool, man. All right.
I was going to say, I did not find out the games I am going to are either the Chiefs game or the Packers game against the Seahawks.
Ooh, Packers, man. Got to go with the Packers.
I have a friend who's a Packers fan, and he was not happy when he heard that I might be going to that game.
Well, the Packers, we can't beat them in Lambeau, but man, they can't win up here either, so...
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that's always a fun game. All right, thanks, Cameron. Appreciate the call. All right. You guys still good for a little longer?
I think I'm good for about one more.
Okay. All right. Let's take one more. This guy's been waiting for almost an hour. Let's go to the 517. All right. What's up, man? Who's this? Where are you calling from?
It's Ryan from Michigan.
Ryan from Michigan. Seahawks fan?
Yes, I called before. It's been a long time.
Okay, all right, Ryan. It's good to hear from you again. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Do you think we're going to get rid of Brick the kicker for the Seahawks?
Did we actually get rid of Blair Walsh? I think we did, didn't we?
Well, he's only on a 1-year deal, so they're not going to sign him.
So basically, his deal ended, and that was the end of that. So yeah, we got the new
kicker.
Don't worry. Don't
Who did we get for kicker?
Well, we got that guy. What was his name from the Jaguars,
Jags.
right?
He's on a futures contract or something like that.
Yeah,
Was it Myers? Is that his last name?
Myers.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah. What could go wrong? It'd be great.
I mean, I hate
And
to
I
say
see Sammy
it.
Watkins got released from the Rams. I can see Sammy Watkins going to the Seahawks. Sammy Watkins.
Oh, Sammy Watkins from the Rams. Is he free agent then?
Yeah. Yes, I heard. Yeah, I can see him going to the Seahawks.
What do you guys think? Sammy Watkins to the Seahawks. Does that a fit?
Man, if we're gonna spend money on a dude, if we're gonna spend that kind of money on a receiver, let's keep Jimmy Graham.
Yeah,
it's been consistent like through the whole show. I don't want to see him go, and I just think we have Doug Baldwin as the number one. Watkins it's interesting. I just think he's going to be too expensive. Somebody's going to overpay for him.
Sammy Watkins is a walking injury. There's no way I'm paying him big money. No, thank you. That's a hard pass for me on Sammy Watkins. You could use a tenth of that money and go out and sign Sebastian Janikowski. That's right. You can go Seabass fishing. Bring in Seabass and have kicker locked down. You don't have to worry about Blair Walsh. You don't have to worry about that guy from Jacksonville who I don't even know his name on a futures contract. You got Sebastian Janikowski who can boom it from 50 on one leg. Let's do that.
Yeah, former number one draft pick by the Raiders back in, wasn't it in the 90s?
Dude, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Sebastian Janikowski is a Hall of Famer. He can eat a hot dog, pound a beer, walk out there, take one step, and kick it through the end zone for a touchback. That's what he can do. I'll take that.
That's true. I wonder what he would cost.
Not that much. Veteran minimum?
Yeah.
Maybe a little more, but he is coming off an injury. They'll probably get him. I could get him a little.
Give him a look.
I want Seabass.
Yeah.
I want Seabass.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're pretty dope.
And if we're going receiver, let's bring back the Kason Williams. The Browns won't need to keep him. Let's bring back Kason Williams. He can catch the jump ball passes that Paul Richardson caught all.
Right. Our caller needs to know. Our caller needs to know that you have a ridiculous crush on Kason Williams. To the fact, so he called him the wrong name on the show. He called him Karen Williams.
No. I did not call him by the wrong name. We were texting in our Facebook
group. You still screwed it up. You screwed up the name.
And
everybody
autocorrect got me. Autocorrect changed it from
dang autocorrect.
All these excuses.
Yeah.
And so now the fans of the show have given Brandan a jersey for Karen Williams, not Kason Williams. He wants Kason Williams back for personal reasons. That's what he wants.
It's true. It is personal reasons because I do have a number 18 jersey with the name Karen on the back.
That's hilarious,
man.
Bring
Golden Tate back.
Ooh, I love that.
Golden Tate. Yeah, what's his situation? He's still under contract, right?
He's still under contract for the Lions, yeah.
Golden Tate, man. Yeah, Golden Tate was he was good. He is still good. He's still doing good things over there in Detroit.
Hey, and we could bring him back because Russell Wilson got rid of his wife. He got the new wife.
That's right. All that stuff is all
be fine.
All past, water under the bridge. It's all good now.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
So it's been Marshall's back.
That ship might have sailed already at this point.
Brandon Browner.
Yeah, man, you're just going through the old school list, aren't you? Brandon Browner had his moment. I miss the Brandon Browner of the 2012.
Walter Jones. Bring back Walter Jones while we're bringing back old players.
He might be able to help legitimately. Yeah.
Legitimately.
Yeah.
Probably better.
Yeah, that's true. He's a lot thinner now. He went on that weight loss program. Yeah, I saw him in person. He was like, man, he's like really thin, skinny dude now.
Yeah.
No.
But he could probably still tear it up as a lineman, though.
Still do it.
I don't want to
Joey Galloway.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Joey Galloway. Wow, we're going back to the 90s now.
I bet you Joey Galloway can still run a 4.540. I bet he could get it done.
Yeah, maybe 4.6. He's probably lost a split second there.
Well, I mean, he was like 4.4, right? Or like maybe even 4.3. I don't know.
Yeah, he was pretty quick back in the day, man.
How would we break Nate Burson?
I'll get him off his cushy little NFL Network gig and bring him back here, put him in a Seahawks uniform.
Oh, he's too into his style and his hair on that show, man. Like Nate's settled in. He's fine. He's fine at NFL Network.
Yeah.
He's having a good time with Jonah Hill doing that show.
Yep.
Oh, it's not Jonah Hill. He always the other co-host on the show. He looks like Jonah Hill to me.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't know what his real name is.
Of dudes that have slimmed down, Jonah Hill. He's you should see him now. Holy smokes!
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's cutting down.
Yeah. He and Walter Jones hit the same diet, I think.
Well, all right. Hey, Ryan, thanks for the call, man. I'm going to get one more. I got to get this guy out of New York. Thanks, Ryan. We'll talk again soon. Appreciate it, man. Go Hawks. I got to get Gangrene in here. Gangrene David from New York. Big Jets fan. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up? How you doing, Norb? How you guys doing?
Pretty good, man. It's about time you showed up. I was wondering when you were going to call.
I work on Wednesdays now, so it's about 10:30 at night here. And I'm literally driving home, so like there's any connection problems, feel free to hang up, man.
Okay, all right. Well, you're probably the last one because these guys have been going for like a good hour and a half now, and I was about to let them off, and I saw you on here. I thought we got to get Jets fan David in here. So, Gangrene David's got his YouTube channel. He's
I
pumping
can't
up his
wait
Jets.
for what's upcoming? I got big things coming, man.
Yeah, no, I've been seeing your stuff.
Well, I got a question for you guys. Since you guys have some interesting sagas going on over there in Seattle with your limited cap space and lots of players who want to be traded or want contract extensions or free agents, if you guys are willing to break the bank to bring one free agent for Seattle back, who would it be?
Well, I guess we got to think of the candidates here. So we're talking about Jimmy Graham, Sheldon Richardson, and Paul Richardson, right? Those are probably the three. Anyone else on that list who would? Who else?
Unless you count Luke Wilson, but I don't.
Yeah, probably not. I miss that guy. That guy was Luke Wilson was
the king of the bros needs to go. That's fine by me. I'll see you later, Luke Wilson. Yeah, no.
He was a good interview, man. Anytime he was on a radio talk show, he was like the best guy to listen to.
He was something.
He was productive for you guys. Come on.
But anyway,
he definitely was good. He was a good role player.
And he started Techno Thursday, so I feel like we need to bring him back just for that reason.
No, that's why he needs
short
to go.
shorts and Techno Thursday.
No, that's it. That's an immediate no. You're gone. You can't be doing that. No, thank you. I want to ask our Jets fan here though how excited he is for the Teddy Bridgewater era, because that's happening. They're gonna sign Teddy.
Teddy Bridgewater. No.
I know, David. I know you want Kirk Cousins. I know you want to spend the money.
I'd take Teddy over Kirk.
I do.
Are you drinking you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're drinking the Captain Kirk Kool-Aid, right, David?
Yeah, I am.
Well, David, you can at least know that
why would you take a quarterback who's coming off pretty much a very broad injury history, who hasn't played a snap since 2016, over a guy who has been consistent the last 3 years, a proven leader, a known commodity, who is considered a borderline elite quarterback, who can lead an offense very well, and not to mention the fact that if we were to bring him in here, would provide us so much more flexibility in the NFL draft. Why Teddy Bridgewater over Kirk Cousins?
Oh, this is easy. I can shoot this down in 3 seconds. Kirk Cousins isn't even close to a borderline elite quarterback, and you're going to have to back up the Brinks truck. You're going to have to back up the Brinks truck to pay the man. You can get Teddy Bridgewater on the cheap, who has far more upside than Kirk Cousins does,
is a better
and he doesn't
player.
have a broad injury history. He has one back.
Listen.
Kirk Cousins did beat us in Seattle.
Yeah, even a blind squirrel finds him out once in a while. That's fine.
So if you were a Jet fan, you would rather bring in Teddy Bridgewater than a guy who's thrown for 4,000 yards every year in the last 3 years. He's 30 years old, has a 67% completion passing rating with a phenomenal touchdown interception ratio. 27
for the money? For the money? Without question.
Yes.
Without question. If you overpay for Kirk Cousins, your franchise is doomed for the next 4 years. That's a death sentence.
What?
And that would be the most Jet move ever to overpay
for the next 4 years.
Well, the Jets have a lot of cap room, right? You guys got a lot of money to spend, right?
Exactly. And we can build a team around Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the best free agent quarterback available.
Where?
Not a lot of guys like him come around.
Where are you going to go with Kirk Cousins? 8-8? Sniff the playoffs every year?
No.
Whoopty-doo-dah-day.
No, we built
Kirk Cousins, NFL purgatory.
The Jets
That's
have
the worst place you want to be is in middle
They
lane.
have $100 million in cap. They have $100 million in cap space. You sign a guy like Kirk Cousins, you build around him, you're a playoff team. So what's your next question?
You're an 8-8 team if you build around Kirk Cousins. Ask the Washington Redskins.
I was going to
There's
say
a reason they didn't pay him.
the Washington Redskins have had Kirk Cousins for how many years now?
Okay, but the Washington Redskins have had their good years. Well, the thing is, it's not entirely his fault. The Redskins, they're not exactly the best coached. They have no defensive playmakers, and he has a question mark of an offense. This year, Kirk Cousins lost in pretty much his top 3 targets and still went on a consistent 4,000-yard passing rating.
Dude, yards is the most empty stat in the world when it comes to judging a quarterback. Look, Kirk Cousins is not a clutch guy. He's not. He never has been. He never will be. This is a guy. Look at his record. Look at his record.
Oh, my God. It's not, like, as I just stated, it's not entirely his fault. Like, you can make that case, yes, but at the end of the day, it's not all on him. Because there are other aspects of the Redskins that actually screw the major opportunities for Kirk Cousins.
Okay, here's a quick question. Do you win a Super Bowl with Alex Smith as your quarterback?
That depends. I mean, if you build the proper team around him. The thing with Alex Smith is that he's 34 years old. The Redskins just extend him with a lot of money. And if the Redskins are to be smart to build around Alex Smith and actually give him a good team, then
How many Super Bowls have been won with a mediocre quarterback? Well, I mean, let's look back on it. What, Trent Dilfer
in 2000.
Brad Johnson. There we go. It's a handful. The majority of the time when you win a Super Bowl, it's with a legitimate franchise quarterback, man. And that's not who Kirk Cousins is. He's Alex Smith.
Adam, Nick Foles. You got one.
Nick Foles? Is Nick Foles?
I live in a world where Nick Foles has to ring. I do not live in a world. I'm in denial. That didn't happen.
Nick Foles is an interesting situation in itself. We have to be its own discussion. But is Nick Foles suddenly elite material? Because that guy's been like great one year, mediocre the next, and then he comes back in.
The Nick Foles saga is over. The only reason why the Eagles got to where they were is because of Carson Wentz.
Agreed.
Yeah. True. But he had to finish it. I think we all assumed that as soon as Wentz went down that they weren't going to go anywhere in the playoffs, and they kept proving us wrong all the way to the very end. So he played pretty damn well. Got toe-to-toe with Brady. Got to admit.
Yeah, he had a good game, but I think the Eagles would probably revolve around Carson Wentz. I mean, it's going to be a very great quarterback competition. I'm actually going to like that.
Oh, no, it's Carson Wentz. There's no competition. Carson Wentz is our quarterback.
Yeah, Nick Foles had a great Joe Flacco run. He had one great Joe Flacco run, and then they paid Joe Flacco, right, with the Ravens after his one great run in the playoffs. And look at where that team is now. That team is in salary cap hell, man. You can't pay a mediocre quarterback like Kirk Cousins.
What players do the Ravens have now?
Well, if you listen to the national narrative, they have the best defense in the league. Chris Sims is jizzing his pants every time he talks about the Baltimore Ravens defense.
And what's their offense like? What's their offense like?
It's terrible. Joe Flacco.
Exactly. They paid Joe Flacco, and now they can't afford anybody else.
Hey, but Alex Collins was tearing it up. I don't know what happened, but Alex Collins turned into Earl Campbell or something over there when he went over to the Ravens.
Alex Collins found an offensive line that actually blocked somebody instead of just pretending to be a traffic cone every play. And suddenly he looked good. It's amazing. But he was still the same guy. I watched him Alex Collins on a breakaway run right up the back of his receiver without another dude around him for 20 yards. Still can't see the field, but he actually had some hits.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
I think you said it, though, Adam, is whatever decision the Jets make at quarterback, it's going to be the wrong one. So
Oh, you got to be kidding me! You got to be kidding me!
Well, history doesn't serve well.
Dude, the entire Jet fan base would probably charge at you for the fact that you would prefer Teddy Bridgewater over Kirk Cousins. That's what a lot of Jet fans are hyped up on about.
Money.
He's my quarterback.
For the money. You can't leave out the money aspect of it. That's the big part of
They
that.
have $100 million in cap space.
Now, how about in 3 years
They have
after you pay Kirk Cousins a boatload?
They have $100 million in cap space, and they could build a good team around him. He's a consistent 4,000 yard passer.
Have at it, Hoss. But I'd really like you to let Arizona Cardinals have Kirk Cousins. That'd be great for my deal. That's what I'm hoping for.
Oh man.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up Kirk Cousins' terrible stats right now. I'm gonna pull up his stats. I'm gonna pull up his terrible stats.
Wait, aren't you driving? Aren't you driving?
Playoff wins, real quick.
Yeah. Okay, Brandon.
And you're driving, right? So you're driving, talking to us, and you're pulling up stats. You're breaking all kinds of laws here, Gangrene David.
I stopped driving already. I stopped driving.
Oh,
but I'm
sure you did.
Playoff wins, and it'll be a really quick conversation.
I'm going to look at Kirk Cousins' terrible stats. Let's see. 4,917 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Is that terrible?
25 touchdowns to 12 interceptions is not great. No.
What? What? You're out of your ever-loving mind.
2 to 1? I don't want. But Russell Wilson's worst year as a quarterback throwing interceptions is 11. His worst year.
He had nearly 5,000 yards that year. He had nearly 5,000 yards.
Are an empty stat, dude. If you hang your hat on yards when it comes to judging a quarterback, you'll be wrong every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
It's not even just. You have 25 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. That's a good ratio.
That's an okay ratio.
What's the win-loss record for Kirk Cousins? What's his win-loss record?
His win-loss record, that's not entirely his fault.
I like how you just sort of blow that stat away. Well, we just look at this stat, but let's look at this. I'm just asking, what's his win-loss record? Is he a skosh over 500?
Not over 500, but is it entirely his fault? No. It's not entirely his fault. He's still a good. He's developing into a good quarterback. Let's see.
He's
this
30
year,
years old and still developing into a good quarterback.
He's in his prime. He's in his prime already. Not a lot of quarterbacks come like him. He's only 30 years old.
He's got 4 years left. If he's 30, he's got 4 years left.
Eli is 37 years old and still playing. McCown is 38 years old and is still playing. Brady is 41, still decided to play.
Whether McCown plays or not. That's debatable.
Listen, I would bring. Listen, if the Jets
I'm just not sure he plays quarterback.
If the Jets, listen, Josh McCown stepped into a role that he wouldn't have expected and actually had a good year with a question mark of an offense. The offensive play calling for the Jets was actually a lot more sufficient than people would have expected. But if I would bring McCown back on a cheap deal to mentor a young quarterback we get in the draft. Don't get me wrong, but listen, as a Jet fan, it's either Kirk Cousins or you go to the draft. Listen, if you're bringing Teddy Bridgewater in, listen, I'm not saying that I would be against bringing Teddy Bridgewater in. Certainly as hell, I would not bring him in over Kirk Cousins. But if I'm bringing in Teddy Bridgewater, I'm drafting a quarterback. Listen, Teddy Bridgewater was in his prime.
Yes,
the injury history is concerning. Well, when was the last time he actually played an NFL snap? Yes, he was coming into his prime. Norb, you remember how he played against the Seahawks in that wild card game. But at the end of the day, I mean, that injury history is very concerning. And listen, on a cheap deal, for a position that the Jets have been struggling with for the last number of years. Listen, Kirk Cousins, I'm willing to spend the money for him. I think with his consistent rate, the fact that he's a good leader on the field, and I think that he can really and even if we were bring him in, Jeremy Bates runs a similar play call system to what he would run in Washington. So bring him in here wouldn't really change his mechanics in a way. And honestly, these receivers we have, such as your boy Jermaine Kearse, Robbie Anderson.
I was going to say, Josh
McCown
McCown should send Jermaine Kearse a large gift because he's about to get paid because of Jermaine Kearse. Jermaine Kearse made Josh McCown last year.
I mean, it wasn't just Jermaine Kearse. It wasn't just Jermaine Kearse. I mean, Robbie Anderson produced. Austin Safarian Jenkins. A lot of these guys produced.
Isn't Robbie Johnson and both Jenkins going to end up in jail here pretty quick?
Robbie Anderson.
Is he going to jail? Didn't he just do something?
Yeah, that's just. I mean,
it's going to be fun watching the Jets next year with Jeremy Bates as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Jeremy Bates was he was with the Seahawks.
Get ready for a lot of fade passes in the end zone.
You know what? I do feel for him though, because he's got to deal with Jeremy Bates. We got to deal with Brian Schottenheimer. Yeah. We kind of switch. It's kind of like one of those Freaky Friday things where you switch terrible offensive coordinators. That's what's happened.
Yep, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, at least, Jeremy Bates, I mean, he's worked under the Jets staff for the last number of years. So, like, promoting him to offensive coordinator, I mean, firing John Morton was a very interesting move for the Jets, but promoting him to offensive coordinator, I mean, the fact that he has already a good knowledge set of the offense and he already has experience play calling, I mean, I can't say it's going to be I can't say he's going to be the greatest offensive coordinator, but the fact that we let go of Morton, I think that's probably the best option the Jets really could have done. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out, especially since if we were to bring in Kirk Cousins, who would seem very eager and ecstatic to play for Jeremy Bates, because I think Cousins sort of has a liking to what he can produce, then, I mean, I have no problem with it. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting, and we'll see what happens from there.
I think Kirk Cousins is going to be excited to cash checks. I think that's what he's going to be excited about.
That for sure. No matter what team he ends up on, that's definitely going to be going on. That cash register is going to be going nonstop.
Keep getting them checks.
All right.
For the Jets, I think it'll be worth the money.
All right, man. Well, we'll see how it plays out. It's going to be interesting for a lot of teams. See how the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes plays out in 2018. All right, David, we're going to start wrapping this up. But thanks for the call, man. It was entertaining, to say the least.
I can't wait to rewatch this over and over again. And
hey, well,
I'm going to let the Jet fan base know what I just heard tonight.
Well, hey, man.
Bridgewater for Kirk Cousins. You're out of your mind.
My Twitter handle is at Adam Durant. Just let him know where to send the vitriol. So just let him know.
Adam Durant.
Adam Durant. It's actually on the screen. You can actually see it on the screen on the left-hand column, so you can see it there. But
I appreciate it, Dave.
All right, thanks, David.
Night.
All right.
No problem, guys. Have a good night.
Take it easy.
Talking with you.
All right, you too. Well, it's going to be interesting in like 3 or 4 years from now. He can pull this tape up or this recording up and kind of go, wow, see? I knew what I was talking about. Like, oh, man, those guys were right.
I think I know where that's going to go. Pretty solid feeling on that one.
Oh, man. Well, that was fun, man. You guys had a good job. You did a good job of stirring up the pot with some of our rival fans or opposing fans here. So that made it worth the while for sure. But anyway, we've been going on almost 2 hours here, and I think it's probably time to bring this to a close. But let's just remind everybody again where to find your podcast, where to find your material, because you guys have great insider stuff on the Seahawks. So remind everybody where to find you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Norb. Seahawkerspodcast.com, and then any place where you get your podcast, if it's iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. You can find us there. Search for Seahawks or Seahawkers. We're just about everywhere, and of course our YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that thing.
Yeah, we have one of those too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, actually, I didn't even realize you were doing the YouTube thing as well. What's your YouTube channel?
Well, it's just Seahawkers podcast, but we don't do video up there. It's just the audio from our show.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So what he's trying to say is it's kind of lame.
But you're there. You have a presence there.
We're there. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, guys, I want to thank you so much for you guys taking the time, a big chunk of your day or your evening, to spend with myself on the show and entertaining our guests here and our callers and our viewers. So to Brandan and Adam from the Seahawkers podcast, I want to say thank you again for joining us. I hope we can do this again. Hoping to scare you off to not want to do this another time, but I would love to reconnect with you guys maybe once we get a little bit further into to the off season, maybe as training camps and all that stuff starts coming up. We'd love to do another collaboration with you guys if you guys are open for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Would love to, man. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed talking to some fellow 12s and some fans of some lesser teams. They were fun too.
I think it's actually more fun when we get the other team's fans on here, trolling the channel and wanting to talk trash and all that kind of stuff. It helps to have a couple of allies in the forum here, so I'm not by myself, trying to hold my own. So anyway, thanks again, guys, for being part of this. I want to thank you guys, the viewers, for your calls, for your chats and everything like that, for being part of this. It was a lot of fun, and we'll do this again sometime again soon. So thanks again for watching, and again, check out these guys' podcast. They do a great job. And of course, for myself, you're watching NorbCam. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that little notification bell down there so you get notifications every time a new video comes up. But that's it. So for Brandan and Adam, I'm NorbCam. Catch you guys later. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.